Something off. I have never cheated and have no reason to suspect my W has either. Great life and I feel good about what I do for her in the bedroom. No issues there. The thing is, after watching all these stories and how shocked everyone was that their spouse could do this and how they never suspected a thing, it got me a tad bit paranoid. So, I figured I'd look through her old emails, see if there was anything inappropriate while we were together. Nothing over 7 years together. Married for 5 years with 2 kids, 5 and 2 years old. Except one little email. My wife has organized her Hotmail properly into folders and had one for this guy and it was empty. Obviously, emails deleted. And I saw in her sent folder back in 2008 when our first boy was 1 year old, she sent an email to him with the title Miss You. And the contents Kiss the Rain. I guess in reference to the song, must have been an insider song for them. This bugs me and I want to ask her about it but don't want her to think I'm insecure. My mild paranoia is only recent. It's also because I'm curious about my wife and what in her mind she hasn't shared with me. I know there are things I haven't shared with her, or anyone else. Some context. We met online and I know she was chatting with lots of guys online before me, and we hit it off best, I guess. Yay me? Or maybe I was the only one that gave serious promise to all her internet man fishing back in 2005. Lol. Anyway, this message I found is in page 22 of 32 pages of sent emails. So, it looks a little retarded that I went through all her old sent emails. Should I just ignore it? I mean 4 years ago and no indication of infidelity, or should I bring it up and ask who he is or was in her life and why she missed him 1 year into our marriage? Also, how do you get honesty and not trickle truth when there can be no evidence and when your W knows your stance to be if you cheat? I do not think I could recover and would D. This can work as a deterrent to cheating, my intention for making this clear, but also a deterrent to telling the truth. I have never been jealous of her friendships with guys and I am quite attractive myself. However, I think this whole thing with me reading up on these issues is because I have missed my wife for the past few months. She is working in another town with the kids visiting her parents for the summer. Can't say more without being too identity specific. I'm actually not that upset about it. I think they were online friends. She had more online guy friends back in the day that didn't get very romantic. He's prob one she chatted with a bunch. I'll just let it go. I guess what I really want to learn from here is how to affair-proof the marriage. I'm worried more about years down the road than this little incident. I want to avoid the issues others have faced. That's why I'm so engrossed here, because I care about my marriage. I think I may just ask her who this person is in reference to the Hotmail folder and not the email. I'll do it at some point when I'm checking her email for her as she sometimes asks me to do. It may get her to share a story about someone she has never mentioned to me and let me in on another part of her that existed before we met. I like knowing that stuff. It's a part of her. Half a year later, my wife just moved back to our house that we own in a small town while I'm staying in the city finishing school. She has been here with me in the city with our 2 small boys for the past few years, but we both decided that since she gets more clients back in the small town, she does photography, she should go back there for a few months to increase our cash flow. She and the youngest went back while the oldest and I stayed here. Kids, ages 5 and 2. My age, 29, wife, 27. So, she's been there for a few weeks and posted some ads on Craigslist to sell some pillows and a TV we don't need. This guy calls her yesterday to ask if she has any couches as well. She says no, sorry, just the pillows. And that was that, until this morning when this same guy, basically a stranger, messages her good morning. And then proceeds to start hitting on her. She soon realizes she knows who he is and who his wife is. She has photographed the kids before. Lol. He was flirting with my wife and said, just seen some of your pics. You are pretty. All I can say without getting divorced, lol. But there's more to this guy. My wife's old boss had an affair with him a few years back while he was still with his wife and while she was engaged to be married. Her boss also told my wife how this guy has had multiple other affairs with other women besides her. A real POS. So, to start, thank you wife for being so forthcoming and letting me know as it was happening. She was talking to me in real time as this guy was hitting on her. Secondly, what is the best course of action? If he contacts my wife again, and I do think he will, what should her words be to him if he starts complimenting her beauty again? Also, should his wife be informed of this conversation? He would proclaim it as just innocent banter. But we all know he has only one goal in mind, to sleep with my wife. No doubt. Of course, I don't want any drama for me or my wife. We talked about the convo a little bit more. She should be more direct in turning that type of conversation down. Like, I understand you are complimenting me but I am a married woman and I do not appreciate this kind of attention or conversation from anyone other than my husband. I thank you for respecting my wishes on this. Still polite but clear. A year later update. She was 21 and I was 23 turning 24 when we got married and had our first boy. This youth is a big problem in her mind when she plays back the story of her life. She is a deeply troubled and depressed person. All of her close relationships in her life are broken down. Does not speak with her dad. Cousins and sisters don't care to be around her because she is so aggressive and insulting to everyone. On the other hand, she can have a wonderful heart and can be very loving and supportive. Especially to me. I was always the light of her life when she was having problems elsewhere. Her crutch. I don't think it was a healthy dynamic. I put up with too much emotional manipulation, walking on eggshells, and began to check out of the communication. Speaking about important things would always result in her going into a rage. Then I was of course the cold, distant, heartless bad guy that didn't value her or make her feel appreciated when I put up a wall. So difficult to walk the tightrope. She wants to leave now? I dragged her unwillingly from our home in a small town to the big city 4 years ago so I could get a degree and provide a better life for our family. I graduated with honors and now have a good job down here. She always felt like she had nothing, so 2 years ago I invested in her to start photography when we couldn't afford it. It was all for her happiness and to compensate for the drive of our lives being led by me. I did not consult with her enough on these big decisions. I forced her hand. It was foolish of me. We had to move into the basement suite of my parents' home. She hated this from day one and made it very unpleasant for everyone. Her and my brother can't get along and she would focus on every negative aspect. She said she tried so hard to see the positive, kept trying, and ultimately was putting on a brave face and only staying for the kids. She said if we didn't have kids she would have left years ago. My issues were that I did not set enough boundaries between the living arrangements of my parents and our family. I was weak in this, but I would talk to my parents about it and they were willing to make adjustments, but my wife would not be proactive in taking care of kids in our own suite. She did not make the effort to establish a home in the basement, which forced my mom to take care of the kids while she edited, Facebooked on the computer all day and night. She is in the other town now, in our home that we own, and has been for the past month to do photography and build up some money for us to move out. While she was away, she had the epiphany that she doesn't want to be with me anymore. Before she left, she had a ballistic episode where she was screaming at the kids at the top of her lungs. I stepped in to stop it and, in the process, lost my temper with her too, shaking her shoulders and yelling at her to calm down. I am normally so calm, but I love my kids so much and her emotional abuse of them made me snap. I apologized for my behavior but told her how her behavior is affecting the kids. I think that episode was the catalyst. She is now crying all the time, under stress up there, and saying that she is done. She tells me she needs to find herself and discover what she wants in life. She says she is afraid of becoming her dad and she can see it happening. She wants to fix herself, do exercises and maybe do counseling. But she doesn't seem to want to fix our marriage. She tells me I deserve someone better and that she feels I am embarrassed of her. I love her so much, but I don't know if we should be together. I suspected emotional cheating up there with a close friend who has preyed on women in distressed relationships before. She was hanging around with him an awful lot and I voiced my displeasure. She has agreed not to see him until she returns. I have bits and pieces of conversations off of her Facebook. I have passwords and she know it, where she is talking about things with friends and he comes into the conversation. She sends them links to his picture. Her explanations sound good and ultimately, we have our problems, but I feel there is something there. I may be able to snoop better when she returns on Wednesday with her laptop and phones. So, when she gets back, we are going to try, but she says she doesn't want me to be too hopeful. She wants to take it as it comes, one day at a time until June when she has to go back to the small town to do all the weddings she has up there. This is when our official separation is supposed to start. She even wants to give me all her equity in the home and will write it down in a formal agreement when she gets back. She wants me to keep the kids and agrees it is better for them. She tells me she loves me sometimes, but in discussion often says she doesn't know if she is still in love anymore, that the kind of love has changed. Really weird thing to hear. Never expected I would hear that from her. She has always adored me. Our sex is amazing. I leave her a quivering, laughing, crying hysterical mess on a regular basis. Lol, and apparently this guy that I'm worried about has a very small penis and is a real nutjob a few months into relationships. But that's irrelevant at this point. What do I do? 180 her when she gets back. Treat her with kindness. We already agreed to have sex when she returns. Go out with a bang like she says. Help please. I feel I should try. Make individual changes in both of us and make a healthy, strong, intact family for the kids. If possible. I never wanted to get divorced. But could it be better for the kids in the end? Sorry about the length. And she doesn't want to live here in the city and I don't really want to live up there in the small town, so ultimately it may be a fundamentally lost cause. 2 months later. I have been away making sense of everything, trying to get perspective. She is here with me now in the city and I tried to coax some hope out of her to reconcile in order to be a family. For the love that we have for each other and for the kids. Did not work. We sleep together 4 nights in a row. She cuddled with me after and I can tell that there is love there. She just wants to be free. Monday was our 7th-year wedding anniversary. We went out to our favorite Italian restaurant on Sunday night, enjoyed a good meal, talked about serious stuff, cried on the way home and made love for that 4th night in a row. She fell asleep on my chest with music playing on her phone. I then took her phone while she slept and took a look. I read many deleted messages and my suspicions about that guy are true. From what I gather, they have not slept together yet, but she has wanted to. They have probably gotten somewhat physical and have been sneaking around a lot, talking about me and hiding it from everyone. I'm grossed out. He is the one that slowed it down out of fear of repercussions and because she is still married to me and needs to figure her cap out. He even said something about needing space law. She is pursuing him. Ducking pisses me off. I am steak and he is hamburger on so many levels. Affirming down is so true. So far, I have quietly exposed to her family and her well-respected big uncle is going to have a talk with that guy and put me on the phone so I can speak with him. I'm going to ruin that little fantasy for her because it's just not right to do that to me. And then I'm going to let her go and take the deal she is giving me. But I will give her a few calm choice words about integrity, character and how disappointed I am in her. I will tell her that as of right now friendship is off the table because friends don't betray each other like that. We will be friendly for the kids and that's it. I know she really cares for me and wants my friendship. It will break her heart, but I don't deserve this. If I'm being honest, I still want to get physical with her. But I think that's a bad idea and sends the wrong message. I will abstain, and yes, she has always had emotional problems her whole life. She terrorizes people when she gets angry, which is often. Her family can't believe I stuck with her for so long. And yes, I have to figure out why I did choose to stay and why I even bothered fighting for this. My God, I have to let go of the pristine image of my life I had planned. So far, I have worked out 3 times in the last week and it feels great. I am super excited to get ripped and pumped this summer and meet a lot of new women. Any advice on when to confront and how to? Should I kick her out of our bed? I was hoping to wait until after her uncle and I talk with that guy and then blow it open on her. She will be so shocked. She thinks I'm oblivious right now. Comments. You then need to decide whether you can get over the affair or not. If not, then divorce quickly. Try to ensure that she gets some help, counseling for her rage issues. Although I think that these will die down quickly when she gets back into her environment. Insist that she is partial, 50-50 custody or some regular contact with her kids, for the good of the kids and the right thing to do, if you can get over the affair and you love her. As you have stated, then you have to decide which is more important to you, your job and financial well-being, you and your kids, or your wife and family's emotional well-being, happiness. I am hoping that you see the rhetorical question here and select the latter. If so, focus on what she needs, be the man you would want your daughter to marry, listen and understand and then help her. Go back to her hometown if necessary. Get out of your parents' basement ASAP, give her some leeway to be young, no cheating of course. Do whatever it takes as I do not believe this should be over. A month or 2 later, basically, she returned and we spent quite a lot of time together. I chided her over her behavior and her messing around. I told her any contact with him and it would be a major betrayal and would not be interested in being friends with her at all. We slowly progressed. She showed remorse and regret for doing that but promised nothing physical. The text messages indicated nothing either. However, it could have happened after the texts and right before she returned. Anyway, we spent a month together and I put the affair out of my mind for a while as we were planning on separating anyway. I acted like I was okay with the idea and that it might be good for me too. Whatever was my attitude. At the same time, we treated each other really well and started to build the bonds back. Lots of physical time and I love you. She returned to her hometown 2 weeks ago to begin our official separation and was quickly hospitalized by severe pain. It turned out to be an ectopic pregnancy which could have killed her. I questioned her on whether it was mine or his. The timing left it possible to be his. She still swore nothing physical so there was no way according to her. Anyway, it had to be removed in an emergency surgery. The surgery and dangerous ordeal changed her and she came to the realization that she loves me and wants to be with me and the kids. So, we are back on and she is coming back soon. Meanwhile, little does she know, her cousin, more friend to me than her, got some info from her friend who is now dating this guy. He spilled some beans in confidence but it got back to me. He said he regrets it. She is crazy and doesn't want anything to do with her. He said she took advantage of him and never would have touched her if he wasn't drunk. And he never will again. Does that sound like making out between two 28-year-olds to you? It sure doesn't to me. That sounds like bedtime. He was chilling with her quite a bit before that. I think he stopped talking to her when she came back to the city with me and the boys. I think they slept together before she came back and he regrets that. Now, I don't feel comfortable just taking her back the way things stand. Things are really good between us and she doesn't know I have this info and I'm having these thoughts. How do I maintain my self-respect, provide consequences to her and also get her to admit it without completely revealing my source? What do you think I should say? Should I wait for her to return in 2 weeks? Should I ask for the right to have my own separation and fun time? Not fair that she gets to and I just take her back. After hearing what he said just 2 days before her surgery, I have been debating whether I should stay with her or not. I do love her and we are good together in many ways. Great sex, lots of fun, emotions and great companionship when things are going well. She is all I know for long-term relationships. That could be part of it. I had an idea in my head of being a family. I want our boys to have 2 parents together, working together. Divorce would be very stressful logistically too. Comments. She only wants back because OM dumped her. If you take her back, then just wait until OM2, OM3, OM4, etc. shows up. OP responds, I don't think this is it, to be honest. I have gone through this many times. I don't think he was a plan A, he was only a few weeks thing. He was more like an easy landing. Of course, he got out of the way and the landing got rough. Still a bit plan B and it does bother me, yes. If the relationship fails, I don't see more OMs truthfully. At this point it's more likely that if it fails, it will just fall apart more quickly without another person involved. We'd both be too tired of it and call it quits. Her lover is not much of a lover from what I hear anyway. I outshine him in that department by great lengths. Comments. Yes, it is this unfortunately. It's just you don't see it because you don't want to see it. Whatever personality stressors caused her to seek comfort in the arms of another man are not healed. They are still there. This will happen again. Accept this and stay with her, with all that entails, or move on to a better life with a mature woman who can commit to the reality of life. She is an avoider of life and responsibility. Only major healing work over a long period of time can overcome that. OP responds, I think you are all right. I'm being delusional about what happened and far too accepting. If I had been reading what I wrote 1 year ago, I would be giving myself a good kick in the ass. I need to break it off and set my boundaries. Only if she begs and grovels for months should I consider reconciling. I think it would be simpler if I was feeling pain and anger. Why am I not as bothered as I thought I would be, as I was in the beginning? I almost feel indifferent to it all now. To her, I don't miss her or yearn for her at all. I also am excited at the thought of dating other girls now. Just never pictured me getting divorced. Never pictured having a cheating wife either, mind you. Story 2. The beginning of the infidelity. I've been a long time reader but finally decided to post my story because, frankly, I feel like some of the seasoned pros or other victims of infidelity might be able to offer insight. A few weeks ago, my wife started a new job at a new gym. She's a personal trainer. She's very pretty and very fit. I accept that she'll get hit on at the gym, and I'm okay with that. However, she's met a guy at the gym who's clearly taken an interest in her. He's married as well, and a local radio DJ, and clearly thinks of himself as a pseudo-celebrity. It started with him making jokes about taking his kids and our daughter on trips. Seemed innocent enough at first because she told me about this. My internal alarm was already ringing, though. So, she says he wants to mention her on his show, etc. Which is great for business. But I, and anyone else, for that matter, knows it's not because he's just a nice guy. At some point they exchange numbers and begin texting. She's not volunteering me access to her phone, but not exactly hiding it either. Mostly because she knows that I'm not nosy and I trust her. However, my gut tells me to start checking messages if I get the chance. And I do. He's asking her training advice, etc. So far so good. Then I see a text about apologizing for calling her gorgeous, says it's inappropriate, and he knows that, but it's the truth. She thanks him for the compliment. This message was subsequently deleted. They continue texting. At last count, over 300 times in 10 days. Mostly innocent banter, but he is obviously fishing to gauge her interest. He tells her he wants her to train him. She tells me this and says she thinks it's great for her career, etc. I ask her if he's keeping it clean and not making any off-color remarks. She lies and says yes. This is after he says in a message, I can't stand the thought of not seeing. I mean training with you for 3 days. She tells him that they are a good team and she'll train him well. Fast forward to last night, and he starts text bombing her. I know it's him. She tells me it's him texting, and my first thought is that I didn't even ask. So why are you telling me? I managed to glance at her phone briefly, and the last message was him saying that he misses her. And her reply was me too, see you tomorrow. Now, she's gone completely private with her cell phone, attached at her hip when before it wasn't. She has a slightly increased sexual appetite as well, and started trying new even though she's a very vanilla girl. I don't think it's gone PA yet, although who knows. Is this considered an EA? I'm keeping my cool and playing dumb because I want to see what the progression is. Is that the best course of action? Suggestions? Comments? Sorry you are here. More seasoned vets will be along, but the change in phone and even sex is a potential big red flag. If she gives you any opening at all when mentioning this guy, she tells you about some minor flirting, you have to tell her that it's not appropriate and that it will not be tolerated. If you act like it doesn't bother you, she might take it as a clue that it's okay to continue. On other threads, a minor opening is an indication of some guilt coming out and the need to rationalize what is happening. So, if she tells you and nothing bad happens, well then, don't confront without solid evidence though. From the looks of things, that would just push the activity underground even more. Good luck. Really no excuse for her to be texting with him even about nothing. If he is a client, then she can instruct him at the gym when it is paid for. If he is not a client, this is inappropriate and you need to shut this down ASAP. OP responds, he's a client now? She trains him once a week, but he started telling her that he's been fighting with his wife etc. I know this is all inappropriate. I find it odd that she does not. I would tell her, but like I said, I want to see where this is going. Because at the end of the day, I don't believe the marriage is worth saving if she has to set what should be obvious boundaries. She's an adult and can make her own choices. ETA, she's texting him way more than she's texting me. Additionally, if I use the Find My Phone app, it ashtrays works unless she says she's at the gym. Then it miraculously doesn't work for an hour or so, which indicates to me that it's off. I guess I'm just checking to see if I'm overacting or if I should legit be concerned. Quick update. She told me that he admitted that he's training with her because she's hot. But he put a caveat on the statement and said she really knows what she is doing. She immediately got defensive and tried to flip it on me. Well, after she flipped it on me, I called her out. Asked her if there were any inappropriate texts etc. She said no. I asked her them off, she deleted anything from the texts and again she said no. I kept my cool but told her I knew she was lying through her teeth. I then told her I hoped it was worth it because I read everything and to pack her bags and get out. I feel destroyed. I don't know what I've done. A month later, here's the update for those that are interested. After I confronted her about the lying and subsequently told her to pack her ass and leave, we had a very long talk. Initially, she told me that while she was sorry, she was almost relieved because she thought we could use the separation because she felt we had drifted apart over the years and continued to argue about the same crap. She told me that it was nice to receive compliments from another guy and that she enjoyed the attention. She said that she did feel bad about hiding her phone and deleting the texts because she said it felt like she was cheating on me. When I told her that at the very least that it could be construed as an emotional affair, she said she'd never heard of that term and that I must have made it up. Lol. She said that she became overwhelmed with what he was texting and didn't know how to respond to his texts advances. I called her out on this and told her that she has had no problem calling me out on perceived deficiencies in the past and I saw no reason why she would not be able to do the same with someone else. She remained adamant that separation was the best course of action. I told her that there would be no separation if she wanted out. We were done, period. It wasn't until I brought up taking our daughter to school together that she finally started showing a glimpse of emotional reaction and said that she didn't want to get divorced, that she didn't want to split the family apart. I even went as far as telling her to start deciding what items in the house she wanted, and that I didn't care what she claimed. I told her that I would make the process as painless as possible for the sake of our daughter. I meant that, too. Eventually, after about an hour of talking, she decided to sit on my lap and get physical with me to get her way out of what she had done. At least, that is my interpretation. The past few days have been much better, so to speak. She's attentive, lets me check her phone, etc. I have access to her FB, so unless she is deleting conversations before I can access them, she hasn't been communicating with him. However, because of my job, I can't confirm this. Additionally, again, the iPhone is off for an hour or so during certain times of the day. Also, while the texts from the OM haven't ceased, they have decreased exponentially in frequency. Although she denies having said anything to the OM, I am still of the mindset of letting her either carry this on or cut it off on her own, because, again, I don't really feel like I should have to reel her back in due to her transgressions. If she is going to wander, then good for her. I'll move on. And for those that asked, yes, I am in excellent shape, 6 feet 2, 230, 13% body fat. Rank is not an issue here. And for those interested, she has cheated before, albeit what she claimed was an innocent kiss. And she neglected to tell me about that until after our child was born. My comment, will you guys keep an emotional affair wife like this? Don't try to save your partner, try to save yourself. Become the main character in your own relationship. Remember that. That's the advice I will give to this OP.